Hello and welcome to Comic Drake, where I talk about comic books and my name is Drake. I've covered Amalgam comics here on the channel before, but nothing compares to how utterly confusing this guy is. Spider-Boy. He seems straightforward. Spider-Boy, aka Peter Ross, is an amalgam of Spider-Man and Superboy, but that's actually where you're wrong. You see, Peter Ross is actually an amalgam of Ben Reilly, a clone of Spider-Man, and Connor Kent/Connell, a clone of Superman. You see, when General Ross, the guy who's Red Hulk in the official Marvel Comics, works with Project Cadmus to recreate Super Soldier, an amalgam of Superman and Captain America, a college intern named Peter Parker suggested to instead create a clone with the ability to manipulate gravity. The experiment, however, was a failure and Parker died in the explosion. However, a clone of Peter Parker was born as a result of this, and that is how we have Peter Ross. General Ross adopted this clone and taught him about how great power comes great responsibility until he was killed by a mugger. This death is what inspired Peter to grab one of Project Cadmus's web shooter pistols and become the vigilante Spider-Boy. However, Peter's got more on his plate than just superhero work. He's also engaged to Mary Jane Watson, the Insect Queen, who's an amalgam of, Mary Jane Watson and the Insect Queen. Oh, and not to mention that he's also got a secret identity as a photographer at the Daily Bugle. In terms of powers, Spider-Boy can manipulate his personal gravity. This lets him walk on walls, jump great distances, and even grants him a little bit of super strength. He uses these powers and his web shooter to take on such bad guys as Bizarnage, King Lizard, and Scavulture. Oh, and when he can't get somewhere fast enough, he takes the Cadmus Fantastawagon. I'm serious, that's actually what Spider-Boy's car is called. Eventually, Spider-Boy is pulled into some serious time-traveling shenanigans where he goes to the year 2099 and meets the Legion of Galactic Guardians 2099, which somehow triggers a time paradox that directly leads to the end of the world. That is until Spider-Boy travels back to his present time where he witnesses a child get injured. Oh, and the Legion of Galactic Guardians is also there for some reason. Confused yet? Dude, this is where stuff gets even weirder, so try to keep up with me. In order to save this injured kid's life, Spider-Boy puts him into the Phantom Negative Zone, which keeps him in stasis. Directly after this, a villain known as Kang the Time Conqueror pulls Spider-Boy into limbo and tries to use his body to somehow take over the Omniverse. Thankfully, Spider-Boy is saved by Spider-Boy 2099, who turns out to be the kid that he had just put into stasis 2 pages prior. He was unfrozen in the year 2099 and was cured by spider DNA research that Peter would conduct later in his life, which is why Spider-Boy 2099 has his powers.
Wait, what? See, Spider-Boy represents everything that I hate about comic books. That's complicated. There's clones, and there's retcons, and there's time travel, and it just seems like it's overcomplicated for literally no reason whatsoever when it could just tell a straightforward story. But hey, if comics weren't so convoluted and confusing, then I wouldn't have a job explaining them to you, so I guess that's pretty okay.
If you want to read this craziness for yourself, Spider-Boy appeared in 2 comics, the self-titled Spider-Boy and Spider-Boy Team-Up. But now, it's time for a vote. If you want a video on Doctor Strange Fate, then click on him right here. But if you want a video on Speed Demon, then click on him. But if you're still confused as to what Amalgam Comics is, check out my video explaining the whole thing, or if you want to just jump into another amalgam, check out my video on Iron Lantern.